Tonight, whatever the case may be, my name is Ben Matthews, aka Ben Time Traveler. I am who I say I am. Your government within inside the government ain't trust me on this. I know these things, and I ain't talking about the deep state. I'm talking about the government within inside the government, the ones that run the whole shit and caboodle, man. Oh, you know, I keep hearing over and over and over on all these so-called mainstream news channels and some alternative news channels that Putin's bluffing, man. He's bluffing about using nuclear weapons. He's not bluffing, man. Right? And how would these people even know he is? I mean, who are they? It's just like these what do they call them, anonymous sources and shit all the time, and then they print it in a news article and shit, and that's supposed to be given as facts, where you can't back check it or nothing. But who are these people to say what Putin would do and wouldn't do, man? He kills his own political opponents. How many people has he poisoned? How many people, think about, I mean, and then sit there and you listen to the President of the United States of America sit there a while back, give the threat about them gas lines that got blown up. Didn't literally come out and say that, but gave a threat towards that, and all of a sudden it happens. One has to ask herself, who really blew them pipelines, gas lines up? Who really is the one that did it? And I told you all this before. There's only a few countries that are capable of doing such a task. That's under the ocean, man. And they come out with an excuse right after I said, it's in the ocean, deep under the ocean. Oh, it's shallow area and shit. It's a process, man. To sit there and go down there and plant them devices, wherever, how the way they did it. And there's only a few countries that are capable of doing that, man. But you're already in World War III. What the hell you think a proxy war is, man? A proxy war is just that, man. John Boy, what up? A proxy war it's just two countries fighting in another country, getting involved, but acting like they're outside the war and shit. They're not actually involved in shit. He ain't got no troops on the ground and shit. But still, nonetheless, just the military equipment that you're giving Ukraine, the United States, it's a proxy war, man. And what's happening in Iran, it has nothing right now to do with the United States of America. There has been times that we have tried to overthrow with coups and shit, and have world leaders assassinated by their own people. But this ain't what's going on in Iran at all either, man. What's going on in Iran is the people are upset, man. They're tired of the dictatorship, man, especially the women. Being covered up head to toe and shit. They want freedom like the rest of the women in the world and shit, man. Well, in most countries. That's what's going on in Iran. But there's so much going on, man, that right now that y'all, I've been trying to say this, food is the power to keep people in check, keep people in place, man. And guess what, man? That's not even going to be possible for these. I'm trying to be careful here, man. I don't want to call them out by their names too much, but that's almost going to be impossible for these groups of individuals, because the food's going to collapse. I mean, y'all don't see it happening, man. There you got your gas prices. They went down for a bit. That's only because Biden tapped into the oil reserve, the federal oil reserve, whatever. And believe it or not, that even puts your country, United States of America, at risk. That's there for a reason, man. You know, that's why we had that there for the reserve oil reserves in case of a real emergencies and shit, man. You know, not because gas prices were going up because you're the president of the United States of America and you jacked it up. That ain't the reason that you should be emptying our reserves. And then what if we do go to war? Well, he's tapped in. Oh, he's only tapped into it one time. I think he's tapped into it. You know, you can back check me. I'm not too sure. So, there's an honest back check there. But I think he's tapped into it 4 or 6 times, man. And that's what I think. And it probably wouldn't be hard for me to go look that up real quick, but you know, I mean, you see all these meat processing plants all mysteriously catching on fire. You see one of the biggest produce of vegetables and fruit overseas catching on fire. You know, you see it over and over and over, man. You always hear about the bird flu and the chickens and the swine flu and et cetera and shit. You know, you don't think that's not being orchestrated to get rid of the animals that you feed upon, for they can convert you into eating bugs. I mean, ain't that the thing that's coming out? You know, first it was plant-based food and shit. Now what they throwing in your face? You know, you will eat the bugs and you will like it. Huh. They look upon you as cancer upon this planet, man. You're the peasants outside the palace walls, man. But you ought to be that of God and God's army, because you are an army to fear. You shouldn't be fighting amongst each other. You should be standing up for each other. You don't even have to watch the mainstream news or alternative news to find out the truth of what's going on. What you got to do is look around you, man. Gas prices are going to kick you in the butt again, man. Watch. I'm trying to watch my mouth, trying not to swear. I'm trying to work on it, but I had a bad morning today, so. But yeah, gas is just gonna keep going up and up and up and up and up. Trying to buy a part for your car, if you can find the part, good luck with that, man. You know, I'm literally going to junkyards now to find a couple different parts for my car. And even if I did find a part, they want what used to be a couple $100, now it's $400 some dollars. You know, and another part's $2,100. You know, that's just crazy, man. And there's no excuse for it. You know, Biden said himself, the pandemic's over and shit. Well, why are we still short in demand? Because they're designing that way. You know, it's just like China. China controls how many products that you buy here and all around the world and shit, man. You know, I can sit at this grocery store right here, won't mention its name, and guarantee you probably 80%, if not more, percent of their products are made overseas, man. And they could sit there and end that anytime, man. They could shut that spigot off, man. They could shut it right down, man. Boom. Somebody coming and talking yesterday, you know, face to face in real world, real life and shit. Sitting there talking about it's awfully strange, you know. He says it's awfully strange that Florida got hit with a hurricane just before midterms, you know. And, you know, we're both talking about, well, you know, they can control the weather, and we both know this and shit, you know. He's talking about China and shit, and I'm talking about other programs and shit, showing them shit on the phone and the computer and shit. You know, documents. So yeah, you know, boom, Vanity Bing. But yeah, that's a conspiracy theory. And you get labeled that and shit, man. You know, who are these people to sit there and being able to label you as a liar. You know, maybe you don't get it right all the time and shit. You know, that's one thing. You know, but you know, there are people come out here and spin the biggest tales you ever heard. Okay, I get it, but still, nonetheless, man. You know, now they're sitting there saying that the midterms are being interfered with by Russia and China. You know, and they're trying to point to a certain group of individuals that, you know, they sit there wanting power, and they're saying it's Republicans. And I'm thinking to myself, I know that's a freaking lie. I know that's a lie, because every time that Russia or China has interfered with our elections, which they have, by the way, it's always been for somebody towards the Democratic Party. I ain't never seen China or Russia, man, sit there and interfere with our elections for any Republicans, man. And I keep watching these planes coming off Lake Huron. Here, let me show you, man. Watching these planes coming off Lake Huron. And that clouds right there, go across right there. Right there. They go all the way down here. They go all the way down that way. Oh, that cloud right there. That's the only cloud you'll see too. But that's the only cloud you'll see right there. And they keep coming off from the east. And then they got. I watched one. He almost did a complete U-turn and shit, man. There's no pattern, but they're spraying right in front of this cloud line right here. And I believe that cloud line there is artificial to begin with. I don't think it was anything natural, man. I think that, and then I think they're just working the hell out of it right now. And the sun's right up there, so they're trying to get this up here to block out that sun. You always got to take in the angle of the sun and the time of year and shit, you know. Different angles where it's setting and rising and shit, man. Different locations and shit. But yeah, that's exactly what they're doing right now, man. I'm sitting here watching him for a little while now. And I'll probably be here long enough, man. I'll probably be here long enough that eventually we'll see all that fill in front of the sun. Now, I've been doing that shit for a long time, man. I'm doing it for a long time, man, observing these people, man. So that's why he and that's another thing, man. When you see him, because there is vapor trails, you know. Okay, people get confused. We're watching this one right here, right now. You can see he turns it on, he's turning it off, he's turning it on, he's turning it off. He's got a certain location. Look, man. He's got a certain location. If I can get him to come in. He's got a certain location right there that he's hitting. So you can see, I told you, because it'll start spraying right where he's starting right now again, man. That location. But see, you see where he turned it on, and he turned it off, turned it on. I think it's more or less he turned it on and it's spitting out, you know, like a car would, man. You know, fucking. But it don't make sense, because if the engines are constantly working right on them aircrafts, well, if you shut them off, you wouldn't have the vapor trails that people say. Well, you're not shutting off a fucking plane up in the middle of there. But yeah, they're filling it. It's all filling in right now, man. It's all filling. All that's filling in right there. And I also noticed later, and I'll probably be able to show you this here in a little bit, as it's filling in more, the heavier they get, man. In other words, the more you'll see them laying down more and more and more. See, right now they're just the beginning of it. The start. It's always early morning when they start, man. They always stay in front of the sun and shit. They try to follow the sun's pattern and shit, man. I don't know if they spray a lot around here because of the Great Lakes and shit and the reflection off the sun and shit. I really don't know if that's the reason, man. But if that's a factor. But I've been following this for so many years. I've seen them spray all over the world and shit. So it's only for one reason, man. And it's not going to rain. It's not going to rain at all, man. They're doing it to dim out the sun's rays, man. Reduce the sun's rays to so-called lower the temperature on the planet, man. Yeah, here's another one right over to the left of me, man. I could pretty much tell how wide that area is that they're hitting right now, man. But what they're doing right now, I call poof tootie. Okay, that's what I label it as, poof tootie. What they're doing now is they let a little bit out in a certain area, and then they stop. Just it ain't like the regular lines that you always see line after line, and even the checkerboard looking shit, man. This here, what they do is they do a little bit in the area, and once that area gets to a certain size, and then they start laying down pretty heavy, man. And you'll start to see the longer lines and shit in the sky and shit. Right now, they're just hitting a little area, build it up, and then they don't hit it hard. And there may be two different ingredients they're using at the time. They may be starting off right now with one ingredients and shit, and hitting it, and then using other ingredients to come in and do whatever. Usually that's the line of making it rain. But when I watch them just spray a little bit of this shit in the air and shit, because it just spreads out, man, and then it makes everything, all this blue beautiful sky and shit, man, all this blue beautiful sky, it just turns it all milky, whitish looking shit, kind of like a Los Angeles, pollution and shit. But anyway, just hope you're all ready for this, man. I sit there and almost every religion, they talk about the Messiah coming back, Lord Jesus Christ, or whatever. And even in the book of Enoch, because that's quite an interesting story. It's one of the few stories that literally talk about alien abduction and aliens and UFOs. I mean, the guy can't describe it any better than what he was describing it. At the time, he didn't have words for UFOs. You didn't have an understanding what an alien was. Everything was God, This God did this, God did that. But anyway, even with the book of Enoch, he was taken up, and then he was brung back. And he told his family that he was going to be leaving again, to go to the heavens with God, actually aliens. And they say, well, will we ever see you again? And he says, no, I won't. I will return to Earth, but it won't be for thousands of years later. And they'd be dead and gone. Well, if it was God talking to Enoch, he would have said, yeah, you'll see your family again in the heavens, like we're taught. Well, when we die, pass, we believe in God, we're given eternal life, and, we see all the ones we love, and everything's peace, love, and understanding, much respect. That's what we're taught, Well, if that was God talking to Enoch, he would have said that. He would have said, yeah, you'll see me in the heavens, blah, blah, blah. No, he says, you'll never see me again because I am not going to return to Earth for thousands of years. And Jesus will return. And my whole point is, this individual is supposed to return to all the religion, and always, if you read the story for what it is, there's always an alien aspect to it. And I'm not sure that that they could say that they're our brothers and sisters or our ancient ancestors, the aliens. They could say that all they want. Maybe that DNA was put into us by them, and that's where I lean towards, man. That's highly more impossible. It's what I lean towards that. But once again, though, you're interfering with the process of a species that I believe that you really had no right to do. I don't care if it was for reasons for your own survival or the future of survival of all mankind as we exist now, to keep that life moving on and evolving. It don't matter because you intervened with something that was natural to begin with. You altered that, whether it was us or not. I don't care. I don't care if it was to save your own species, your own intelligent life form, or maybe it was to save each and every one of us, mankind. Maybe they got, because people are abducted by the thousands, all the time. I mean, there's millions of people come up missing just in the United States of America, and some of them you can give count to, but a whole lot you can't, man. You wonder what happened to them people. Maybe they preserve that life, man, because we're going to destroy ourselves, man, which is not far from the truth and far from happening. Well, it's been close to 1,000 years that Enoch talked about, and it does look like that at times. And he welcomed this individual, which I believe will represent me and you as like Enoch, as a human being, looking like a human being, because that's the way to get the message out at that point in time. Who's going to sit there and listen to some intelligent life form that don't look like you? You have your thought, you have your doubts. I think you'd be more in fear. But I think the whole story of us has been written, man. And I don't think it's like y'all think, man. I mean, Enoch, he described the UFO, the lights on the UFO. He described the doors. It's almost as he was describing being the German, virus, or what they call it, when you go through a machine and it blows that air and shit on you, man, to, make you, clear, clean you and shit. I can't think of the word of it, man. But you all know what I'm talking about. He describes something like that, man, and then he describes the inside of the crap. He describes the intelligent life form itself, which in every story, man, every story. I don't care if it's a Hopi, I don't care if it's a Maya, I don't care, man. If it's some sort of religion, there's always that part of it in their story that they were told that that individual will come back. We, as Christians, it's the Lord Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, Jesus. In other religions, it's not. But it talks about it, man. And I also read the story, the truth, that there is two factions to this. There's the good side of them, and then there's the bad. Now, are they two different intelligent life forms, species of life forms? I'm not too sure. Are they the same intelligent life form and have two differences? Kind of like a left and a right point of view? And well, because we already know because you all been told, what's going to happen and what ends up with a good percentage of us. And then you take the rest of the story, and so many people are going to be saved. Well, are them ones going to be saved? Are they going to be taken up like Enoch? Are you going to be taken up and just preserved, eternal life? Are they going to create you to be living forever? Because we're never going to accomplish that on this planet. You're never going to accomplish the individual human species on this planet living forever like you've been told. Whether it's your religion or other religions or whatnot, you're not going to accomplish that here on Earth. We're going to destroy ourselves before then, man. And it's not too far off. As far as Putin goes, I'm not too sure how that's going to end up when he detonates a nuclear weapon. Because there's a lot of things that him himself got to take into consideration. Besides the wind blowing the shit and radiation back on his own people, but does he really care? But what's the United Nations going to do? What's the United States going to do? What can they do? Put more sanctions on him? Send him to his room without his dinner? What more can any of them do? He don't really care. It's about winning, man. And I don't believe this at all, that Ukraine is just kicking Russia's ass like they've been doing. There's more to that story than meets the eye, man. I ain't totally figured it out, but I'm telling you what, man, it's almost like somebody's letting themselves get their ass kicked. And maybe that's the reason. We lost so many soldiers, blah blah blah, and he uses a nuclear weapon. It justifies that. Sit there and sacrifice your own soldiers, your own people, and don't think that these dictators don't do that, because they do it all the time. Sacrifice all them soldiers for you to say, look at how many soldiers we lost. We had no opportunity. We had to use a nuclear weapon. And then call United States of America, man, on the only country that not only once but twice used nuclear weapons. I've been against nuclear weapons for a long time, man. Long, long time, man. I've been against nuclear energy for a long, long time, man. Anything that ain't biodegradable, man, and go back into Mother Earth and shit, ain't worth nothing. Phew. Excuse me. I'm hungry. Yeah, it's almost there, man. And you whatever your religion is and whatever your beliefs are and shit, you one way or another you've been told, man, and you believe something. You can sense it, man. You can sense how bad things are got, with the And I'm not using this as an excuse for religion, and all that, man. I'm just pointing out the obvious to me, for instance, the rampant crime going on, not just United States of America, but look all around the world, because you can't focus just on your own backyard, man. But you look at it, the looting, the disrespect, for instance, defund the police, your school systems, man, teaching your kids how to get blowjobs, and that's. And believe it or not, it was talked about, by whatever God or religion or belief it was talked about. You were told about these things, man. These things would happen. The openness of gays and shit, which, wrong or right, I don't give two rats asses if you're gay or not. I really don't, man. But when you want to sit there and go to a kindergarten school or any school system, man, at any grade level and shit, and try to teach that, and you really, sometimes you confuse an individual. But I don't think that that's proper for any teacher or any school system. That's between the parents, and that's why they try to destroy the family unit and shit, man. You can't have a father and a wife. You can't have a husband and wife, mom and dad. That can't exist, man, because that way we can't teach your children, man, to hate America. We can't teach your children that all white people are racist. Vice President sitting there, Harris and shit, saying that people that are poor and of color are going to get help from the hurricane before anybody else. That's racist by itself. I keep seeing more and more racist shit being thrown at me as a white individual, which, by the way, is very poor. Fucking, I ain't never had no privilege and shit. But my life keeps being put in danger every freaking day, man. There's always somebody out here coming out here telling other people that I'm a threat to them because of the color of my skin. And there's people out here that are literally sitting there looking at that and are going out and messing people up, man. But they don't want to talk about the true facts. You always want to hear them say, well, it's black on black crime. Well, you don't hear them talking about this very much, do you? About black on black crime. You don't hear them talking about who's doing most of the shit going on here in the United States of America right now. You don't hear them sitting there calling that out. They sit there and say, they're fixing it by, allowing people to go shoot up drugs and shit at some kind of shooting center, heroin, let's make it delegalize it, fucking heroin and fentanyl and crack cocaine and shit, man. There's a reason for these laws, man. But they're sitting there trying to justify it, saying that it's preventing crimes and this and that. It's not preventing crimes, man. It's making it worse. And then two people I don't know, they're congressmen and women and shit, or senators or whatever and shit, they got carjacked and shit, man. Why do you even bother calling the police, man? You're for defund the police. Why don't you call one of them social workers to come help your ass out when somebody stole your car or robbed you? Why don't you call one of them social workers that you want to go to some guy's house and shit that's got a gun and shit and threaten to shoot his wife or his girlfriend or whatever and shit. Why don't you send one of your social workers there? Good idea. But that side of the aspect of religion and aliens and shit, man, it's not too far from being the same, man. And look, don't cut yourself short. Or, I mean, don't sit there and think that I don't believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, because I truly do. Okay, I believe this, man. But just because I sit there and see things for what they really are, with the alien aspect of it, don't make my religion any less. It actually makes it even more stronger. Because I know there's a good and there's a bad. And I know that we were taught in so many different ways. That's what amazes me. All this different religion, all these different ancestors, talk about the same thing, but in a different way with different, individual or whatnot. But it was all the same story being told all throughout the world. And you were given the choice, man. You were given the path. Just like the Hopi said, you take the right path or you take the wrong path. The wrong path is the end of the world, the end of days, man. They were taught that. The Maya were taught that. The Egyptians were taught that. All Japan, China, Russia. I don't care where you're at, man. Your ancient ancestors were taught that. And that was more or less a gift to each and every one of you to see the truth of what's about ready to take place. Even the Bible says only so many people are going to be rescued, man. That's the word I'm using, is rescued. Only so many people. And it's not a whole lot of number. It's God's chosen people, man. And out of all the billions of people on this planet and shit, I'm not sure what the actual number was. Seems like, to me, it was like 188,000 or something. I'm probably wrong. But that's not a lot, man. What about the rest of us? And then I think to myself, well, you know what? There's probably only about that many pure people of God, that true believers of God, that exist in this planet. Yeah. Putin would have to set a low-grade nuclear weapon off, man, with the wind blowing, man, towards Europe. Away from the motherland. It's, but then again, he don't care about his own people, so. In one way or another, it don't matter who blew up them gas lines, man. It don't matter who did it. It don't. People are still going to suffer this winter, man. And if you honestly open your eyes and look, you see the exact same thing. They're not blowing up oil lines here in the United States of America. What are they doing though? They're shutting them down. Same thing, man. Only you can't have oil lines in the United States of America being blown up. That's just too obvious and shit. But you can shut them down. Environmentalists. And people just don't see that that's what's exactly what's happening, man. No OPEC. They're going to be putting a hurt on everybody around the world here pretty soon, man. Gas prices are just going to keep going up. All that oil reserve that weakened our country and put us in jeopardy, actually that's the national security right there. When he was releasing the oil reserves, that's the national security right there, man. We're vulnerable, man. But it helped out for a minute, give the truth and the facts. But guess what, man? It ain't working no more. And what time of year do they want to hit you the hardest, man? Honestly, what time of the year do you always see the most damage happening? I'm not talking about the financial field, man. Not hurricanes or tornadoes or anything, earthquakes or anything of that nature. Which we should have a sun flare hitting Earth today. I do believe it's today. As a matter of fact, it's maybe possible for people in Michigan and Illinois and parts of New York to be able to, or Wisconsin, be able to see some northern lights, man. But now I got sidetracked, man. What I was talking about. I ain't even going to try to go back to the memory breaks to reverse and find out what I was talking about. I don't know why that sun flare popped in my head. Never reading it anywhere or seeing it anywhere. I do believe there's a solar flare that's going to hit Earth today. No damage or anything, but you may be able to see the northern lights, like I said, in Michigan, Wisconsin, and parts of New York. That's if it's a clear night, which they're working on it not being. You know, I never understood why we never built our electric grid underground. You know, the telephone pole lines, electric pole lines, you know. Just think if it was all underground, man, how much safer it would be from Mother Nature itself. I never understood why we ain't never did that. And I'm sitting in this parking lot of this grocery store, and every one of their lights in the parking lot are underground going, you know. But they're coming from the main power, which are the poles. Think, you know, how many people still have power in Florida if most of that shit was underground, protected. Just one of my thought of things. Oh, that neighbor shooting that cat, man, that really got me upset today, man. And I guess Cheryl's right. I shouldn't threaten people's, man. But, man, you're shooting a cat that ain't doing shit to you. There, let me check out the chats, man. I've been ignoring them long enough, ain't I? I was smart. I brought my glasses with me today. $5 a gallon this winter for propane. More. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Locklear's in the house. What up? Our gas here in Michigan, man, is just like, it went down for a while. And then the last week, every day, up, 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 up. That's bothering me. What bothers me, man, is I want to fix my car and I can't get no car parts to fix my car. You know, they either got to order them, and the one part was like, I don't know what they say, 4 or 6 months out. The other part wasn't going to take that long if they could get it, though. Won't take that long, he says, if we can get it. The other guy, he was just honest. He said about 4 months, man. Probably 6. So I guess I'm going to have to go to a junkyard and buy some used parts, man. I don't even know what they call it, man. It's part of the braking system. I think it's all anti-lock brake system. Or ABS or something. Box. I know they want $2,100 for it. I can't afford that in this economy right now. Yeah, I pulled my plants. All except one. I'm supposed to get up to 75 tomorrow. It's a good day to go pulling my plant and hanging it. I just ain't got enough room in my house to do even three plants at the same time, man. I wanted to pull one a week, but the weather ain't cooperating right. Yeah, it was about 32 degrees where I was at this morning. No frost though, but it was about 32 degrees easy. Or 32 degrees, excuse me. It was 32 degrees this morning. And that's cold enough to snow, man. I think anything below 32 degrees can possibly be snow. Yeah, they don't bomb us hard here anymore, man, like they used to. You know, I go back years and years and years, man, in the Wayback Machine and shit, man, videos. And you could see months and months and months, winter, summer and shit, they just hitting us hard, man. And I've been being honest with y'all, man, the last couple of years, they kind of just been easing off. I mean, every once in a while we'll get hit, man, but not like we used to, man. And once again, I think that's all got to do with the pole shift and the location of, you know, the sun's not actually moving. You know, our planet's shifting, man. That's why they got to change the GPS systems all the time and shit, man. And the airport's got to change their lights and shit, man, landing lights and shit, man, because they GPS, because the Earth's constantly moving. That's the pole shift, man. But the sun's always staying in the same place. So when they're trying to block out that sun's rays and shit, I'm sure that with the pole shift happening, it's ever so slightly too, by the way, but nonetheless, that they have to shift their location to correspond with that. Well, with the sun itself, but it just seems like that they've spraying a different area more heavily now is because of the location of the planet itself in relationship to the sun, because it's not the same, man. You could take honestly, you could take a stick, a straight stick, and set it in your backyard, man, with the sun, and you can mark that sun's path with the shadow from the stick. And you could do that for numerous years, and you will notice so slightly, but it's happening, that shadow is moving. Because it used to be you just stick, it's the same pattern over and over, year after year after year after year. You see the same shadow hitting the same line over and over. Now it's not like that. It's not hitting the same line. Now it's moving away from the original one. See what's happening is they're spraying pretty heavy. This is the end of the cloud line. It's just farther back. There's more activity, and that's what they're doing. They're coming out of that. Hang on there. They're coming out of that. They're spraying heavy, and as they come up out of it, they're shutting their shit off, man. So I'm sure the people to the east of me, they're probably noticing a more heavier activity than I am, because once they come out of this shit that they're creating, they shut their shit off. So they don't want it. Eventually they'll be hitting this area here. See the sun's location, it's coming down more in that direction there, towards that way. And once that sun moves and shit, then they'll move it up, and you'll see it being blocked off in here. But yeah, see how they come up out of the shit they're creating right now, and they shut their stuff off. Now this guy over here, he's going into it in a reverse way, and just before he got into that cloud coverage right there, you can see he sit there and he turning his shit on. See them two right there, they shut their shit off, man. They come out of it. Now that guy, he's going into it. He turning his on. They don't need to do up over in this area all the way there. There's a bunch over on this tree line over here too, man, going into it. A lot of times you'll watch them, they'll come up out of the shit that they create. My phone's gonna die here in a minute. Hang on. One second, man. Sorry about that, man. Phones got hot. So like I said, man, that sun, it's heating up pretty good, man. Supposed to get up to 75 tomorrow. I think we'll push 70 today. I don't even bother watching the Weather Channel anymore, man. They ain't getting it, never getting it right anymore either. Yeah, I had that phone sitting in the window, man, facing the sun. Not good, bro. Probably gonna have to shut it down, man. It's hot. Man. Sorry about that. I think it's taking an ass whipping from the sun, man. Yeah, you can see if you look, you can see where they shut it off coming out of the clouds. Each one of them, man. You can still see just where they shut it off, and then nothing. But leading back in the clouds. And mind you, these are different heights, man. Yeah, they're hitting pretty good towards the east, man. Now Cheryl's got me feeling bad about telling the neighbor I'll kick his butt, man. I'm guilty. I'm not gonna deny it, man. I was pissed off at the time, especially when that ricocheted off the fence, that projectile, and almost hit my garage, but nonetheless, it could have hit me, man. She's like, you should have called the cops first. Probably right, but fuck, man. Call the cops and they don't even show up, man. Honestly. Anyway, I ain't too sure which neighbor it was. So, I think I got an idea. Yeah, she got me feeling bad about it. Well, how about the cat, man? Getting shot in the ass with a pellet or BB gun. And it's lodging in its skin and getting the tumor, getting infected or whatnot, man. What about the cat, man? Tell you what, man, it's a hot 50 degrees, that's for sure, man. In other words, I think it's hotter than 50 degrees. I'm right on Lake Huron, man, and we ain't got no breeze at all, man. Zero. That's why that cloud coverage shit that they're working on there, it ain't moving very much. There's no wind, even in the upper. No lower wind, no upper wind. I just think, man, they spray that shit time and time again and shit, and it just falls right down, and people are breathing it in and shit, man. And the stories I know that, it's just... It's another thing they want to keep you focused on the shiny objects and shit like war and shit, Russia and Ukraine, and why they do all this other crap, behind your back. And it ain't so much even behind your back; they're just doing it right in front of you. It's just people are too busy looking at the other crap. I don't know what happened to my chat, man. my chat went, man. There ain't nothing I did, man. There it goes. It's probably this phone's getting too hot, man. I'm gonna have to shut this down. Well, I'm gonna shut this down and let this phone cool down. I'll be back out later, man. I know. Sometimes I ask myself the same thing. Why? Can't always blame the system from blocking people, man. I mean, it's 90% of it, but I guess a good percentage of it has got to be me, too. I just don't want to jump through the hoops and shit, man, to bother with getting more views. Views don't matter none to me, man. Thumbs up don't matter none to me. It's just coming out here talking to my friends, man. I don't even consider you a sub. I consider all you as my friend. You know, all these other big channels and shit, man, talk about subs. Smaller channel, man, like I got now. Get to know people a lot better, man. Smaller group of individuals, you know. Lost my chat. I'm gonna have to find me some shade, man. That sun is beating down, man. All right, man. Peace, love, and understanding. Much respect, man. Be that of God and God's army, because you are an army to fear. Trust me on this. I know these things. Appreciate y'all stopping by, man. What few of you did. I appreciate you, man.